Well, this is hard to say. Happy St. Pat's Day or St. Patrick's Day. Wow, if St. Pat could get rid of the virus as well as he did with the snakes in Ireland, but it's a much bigger job, not just here in the U.S. but across the globe. We'd be in great shape and be out there doing our usual, celebrating maybe a little too much debauchery, but at least honoring a wonderful tradition and for us believers the saint. Anyway, welcome to Rant Review. As you know, we've been experimenting with this program different times, and in the middle of learning the what we're going to do with it, we've added a new feature. For those who haven't been or been with us early on, we now can allow you to call in instead of going through the tedious process of the computer, which some people don't mind, and then just disabling your camera if you don't want to come on air visually. I mean, yeah, audibly fine. We now have a local phone number, New Orleans, from where we emanate and broadcast live streamed on Facebook, YouTube, whenever we do these broadcasts. So the number is down on the bottom. It'll stay on there all the time during the show. It's area code 504-383-3654. And again, we're trying not to be so morbid, excuse me, about the situation and trying to see how we can make your visual life or your virtual life a little bit more entertaining or at least time consuming while you quarantine, mandatory or self-quarantine, stuck in the house. And we have a lot of things to offer you, not just us, but of course all the channels that are on YouTube and all the other different live platforms. But today we thought we would start a topic. Hopefully you'll join in. Again, we have a couple of taboos we always like to mention is that we don't like pornography, which you won't do if you're not brought up on air with regard to visually, but live street language, vulgar language, rap out of indict the rap situation. But even though you're allowed on the internet to speak as you must, we ask you to temper your language so that these old ears will not be offended. Okay. Other things is we ask you not to be malicious or hurtful deliberately to someone or something, especially my little feelings. Oh my goodness. Lastly, the most things: sports, politics, and religion. And JC, Bob, why would you do that? They are some of the most common, and that is the reason they're on every talk show in one form or another. Some of them specializing like sports. I'm not certainly not an expert in sports. I watch some, but never have been that much of an enthusiast of it. Politics, we have a lot. We're very ripe down here in New Orleans, but we've got such tenuous situations even before the coronavirus that I'm trying to see if we can keep it, and it's certainly not going to become a typical left-wing, right-wing Republican Democrat debacle. There's too much of that. And religion, everyone has their choice to either participate in religion, believe, or whatever. So we're not forcing. All right, there's no need to get into that. Just like any of these passions, you can be so charged about it that sometimes it will cause an unpleasant discussion. So those are the ones other than that we love. So today we're starting off with COVID-19 restaurants. What in the heck does that mean, Bob? Well, I'm hoping that of course you can't get away from it, if you've been bombarded with information on COVID-19, especially, since more and more of the facilities that serve food and or beverage are being mandated closures. Originally just time restrictions with regard to just you have to have a lower earlier time shut down for the restaurant, 9 o'clock Central Time, or 11 or 12 o'clock, I think, for the bars. Even those, I believe, may be changed or have been changed. So much so that the restaurant portion, as far as I'm understanding, is no more, meaning You just can't go in, reservation or not. You probably won't get a reservation. Walk in the door and have your lovely seat and have a wonderful meal, which all of us New Orleanians know it's just our lifeblood. I hate to say that because that's a very selfish thing to say, very uh, kind of an ostentatious thing to say, but it is true. And I'm not talking about the best of restaurants. I'm talking about all levels. We're so used to being able to just show up without a reservation necessary and have a fabulous meal. We'd love to hear from you if anyone. I've seen some people calling, so this is great. I'm hoping you're enjoying our topic. We're just starting to explore. The area code is 504-383-3654. You will not be shown. It will just be your voice using your regular telephone, smartphone, computer voice, go Google Voice. I'll get it. Whatever way you can get through the telephone airwaves to get into our system. We would love, like I say, to hear from some of you all on this topic, how it is in your area. Maybe you'll tell us at least your first name. Hopefully it'll be truthful, but I understand. And the area you're calling from. And first, know what are the restrictions in your territory as far as you understand it. We don't want to go into all the things about the virus, certainly not the health implications, not the, we're strictly focusing on my background, the restaurant, the food and beverage, but mainly the food. So as I said, here in New Orleans, most of the restaurants, if not all, I think have been mandated to close their doors to the public. Now, what does this mean? That some will are attempting to just, yeah, this is really cold, but to close down for as long as it takes. Now, everyone's working on a tentative target date of April. I believe it's April 13th, Easter Sunday. For those religious, what a story there, where that is supposedly the end date of coronavirus here in New Orleans. Now, some of the people like the governor have left those doors open to extend it. And I think even the president of the United States is saying that this thing nationally or internationally could go on at least to the months of August or later, around there. So no one really knows. I mean, they're basing it on the information that they've been studying, looking at the poor country of China that was hit first, and then secondarily Italy, and little bit by little bit moving around the country. New Orleans has the distinction of being, I think, the second highest number of patients infected, positive, whatever they call it. They get some terminology, but people who have the virus or been contracted to the virus, based on the per capita of the city in the nation. So it's not one of our favorite being high marks. We don't really like to be high in this kind of situation. Seems like we're always high in some of the negative information, but we're not going to go into that. Back to the restaurant. So what do you do? Well, of course, before restaurants, and in my lifetime, it's hard to imagine a restaurant. Well, no, that's not true. When I was little, to go to a restaurant, fast food, I know you're not going to believe this, but fast food was, I don't even think it was invented, certainly not locally here. I think the first time I ever heard of a fast food was visiting a college friend in our state capital's college in the mid 60s. I think that was, and it was one of the burger places. I know which one, but I'm not going to be giving plugs. So, again, restaurants for the most part were relegated to poor boy shops, mom and pop shops, independents, and upscale dining, of which we still had a lot. Nothing like the numbers we have now, but still had a lot. So to eat out, from my background, my family's background, was a kind of a special deal. Which in the early days, whenever you went to any restaurant other than what we would consider a chain or some or a family restaurant, you had to dress up. You had to put a coat. It didn't have to be a suit, I don't believe, but certainly a coat or a blazer with a dress shirt and a tie if you were a gentleman. So, wow, how you like that? I forgot what they mandated for the children. Sometimes they didn't even have children at the restaurants. Wow, what a shock. When they weren't always family receptive. Anyway, so what's happened now is that we have all these type of places distribute food. Some of them are kind of who are maybe adversarial or feared to be adversarial. I'll give an example is the food truck. Food trucks came about maybe 10 to 20 years ago. I don't know exactly when, but I'm so old I get time mixed up, which you'll have to forgive me. But again, it was down here, it was bitterly fought because of the fear of the huge number of restaurants we have that they would now be losing customers to another venue. And therefore, this would be a detriment to the tourists and the residents, etc. So the city put a lot of restrictions on food trucks, and for the most part, they're still around and just coming in small portions, mainly in the urban office, relying on office folks and so on. They're going to concert venues at night, but they're not proliferating like they were special. Now they are being, I don't know if I'm going to say elicited, but certainly collaborated with. I saw one just now, a Facebook listing, whereby, and what's good about it, the chef who is the owner of this pop food truck, he also has a new eatery, and he's going to be coming on the Restaurant Review show fairly soon. All of our shows are in flux, just like everything is, because we don't know how much. Well, first of all, I'm usually available, but not all the guests are available because they certainly don't want to be promoting their restaurant or something if they're totally closed. As I mentioned, the most extreme version is those who are just shutting down in toto, and until either some may never reopen. And that's the sad part. Just like when we had our terrible disaster in 2005, there were numerous. We went down to half of our restaurants, even though we had more than what we used to have. And it took a long time to get back to even a small increase in those numbers. So there could be a lot will take advantage of they just throw in the towel. Either they've done it a long time or they're early on, and they certainly don't need extra expenses because of and just the ability to maintain if they have staff to be able to pay these folk who certainly deserve work, even though they might not be working. So there's a lot of decisions that have to be made in conjunction with that, and you can't just fault them if they don't come back to us. I mean, I know I'll be very disappointed, and anyone who eats out with some regularity, especially at a variety of restaurants, instead of being fixated on just your favorite ones, um, you'll certainly miss them. So we're hoping that doesn't happen. And I know there's a lot of solicitations on people to donate money and hopefully the government will be doing something for these workers to get them paid while they're unemployed. So anyway, that's the worst case scenario, that these poor people have to close up shop, give up their dream, and all of the folks who were hopefully pleasantly employed there find other work. It's at a decreasing part of the pie. Okay, so we're hoping that doesn't affect too many, but we can certainly understand, especially the mom and pop shop, where they just can't afford to pay all the operating costs of their own facility as well as the staffing cost during this uncertain tenure. Now, there's a hybrid situation. That's the one I'm going to talk about a little bit more, and that is curbside delivery, takeout delivery. Oh, what does that mean? Well, curbside delivery is, well, let's do takeout. Takeout, most people know. I mean, even since early on, you could take out something from a well-established and sometimes a very famous upscale restaurant. They're always looking for business, and probably this is the easiest possible, other than having to stuff it into portable containers and there's less dealing with the public. There's no overhead. Of course, the waiters usually don't get that avenue of tipping. But the thing is, if you call up and order from the menu and give them the required time, you can go there to their front desk or somewhere, and they will present you with takeout. So a lot of that now, in conjunction with that, both types, takeout and curbside delivery, for the most part, have adjusted their menus. I mean, some of these restaurants have prolific menus. I mean, Asian restaurants especially, just pages and pages, if you want to call it, numbers and numbers of dishes. A lot of the restaurants that are now offering, whether they did it or not before, takeout, may have a very limited menu. Why? Why is that? Because one is they don't have all the folks. They're not going to bring in, if they have multiple chefs, they're probably going to rotate their chefs one at a time. If at all, they will bring one server in, because he or she will contact be represented at a door or window to hand out the food that the hungry patient, not patient, the hungry consumer is looking for. And most of these are now requiring payment up front on the phone as opposed to cash on delivery. One, because the cash kind of could be contaminant with the flu, which is, I guess, so true. But it just takes too long for them to have to run each one through a credit card. So they're usually doing that up front on the phone as you place your order. So what you need to do is, as you start getting tired of eating at one restaurant, or as you start going through, is, well, who is going to be doing this? Who is going to still offer food? As you find, I'm sure there's going to be a list by our famous food critic. I'm sure he's very accommodating to everyone. So at some point, I'm sure he'll have a list of some of, he always says all, but most of it's some of those established restaurants that will be providing such services. And I'm sure some people will talk to him about that as well on his show. Anyway, but I would just suggest giving them a call or looking on their website to see if they have an abbreviated menu. Well, first of all, whether they're doing anything at all, and what are they doing for food delivery or distribution during this tenuous period. And then follow those guidelines, and hopefully can accommodate some evenings or leaving lunches. A lot of you are home now 24/7. So you might get an urge for a lunch or maybe even a breakfast or something, and have it either you go pick it up or deliver it. As we said, delivery has been around for years. The old days, it was always done by the proprietor. Now, of course, due to these fabulous ride services, we'll give them a plug either. They developed a situation where you can order through them, pay their fee, and they will deliver the food to you. Now, with some of the scandals, the food's not always untouched, so that, or not always present as you ordered. So you run that risk. A few of the restaurants, let's not say a lot, of the restaurants who are installing delivery using predominantly their own employees. What they do is taking the employees that they're going to pay, and if they're not busy, they're going to put them on the car or whatever, and make them do the delivery, and hopefully give them some compensation as rewards. And one of the services, which is not very well known, is actually doing that. It's using, they just showed at the lunchtime news, using the employees of the restaurant to drive the trucks or the vehicles of the service to make those deliveries. That gets a little tenuous, I would think. Insurance is woo in all these situations. We have a big no-no with insurance, but we don't want to get to that because that's enough of a subject on its own. We try to stay on the food emphasis. So, okay, so we said we have delivery to your house to various alternatives at some places. You have pickup, takeaway, whatever you want to call it, where you go and actually retrieve the product. And lastly, you have curbside delivery. Yeah. Curbside delivery can be equating to, or also known as, AKA, drive-up delivery, as most fast food establishments will have. There's a window for you to, your cars line up in queue first window. There's more than one window, which usually there is if they have high volumes. You'll place your order there, and then you will go drive around to the second window to pay or pick up your food. Now, those might be restricted on normal fast food. No one's asked that, or it will be handled the way we talked about, where you have to pay on phone, order in advance, pay on the phone, and just pick up. So that would be drive-through, drive-by, not drive-by, that's what meant to drive-through, as done in a fast food establishment. And lastly is curbside delivery. Now, this is one that's, I think, is the nicest, but I'm not sure how many will do this. And what happens here is obviously these are most of these restaurants that are mom and pop or independents do not and have never been set up for window service or drive through service. So they may not even have a window in their restaurant. It's a little one that they could open up. They probably all fixed for the comfort of air conditioning and heating. So what will be done is if they have doorways opening more than one, the server or the deliverer, whichever you want to call the person, will actually come out with, again, the pre-ordered product and drop it off at the car window of the passenger or the driver who has coming to pick up the food. Once again, there's no payment done at that time. I'm sure he or she would love to see some gratuity, so you certainly can do that. Even though many of the restaurants are putting a mandated gratuity on these services because of the service not getting any money and they not having enough money to pay them. So that could be, make sure you understand, is there a delivery charge for your restaurant? How is it based? To go back to delivery, is it fixed? Is it fixed for certain miles? You only deliver certain miles? Is it a percentage? Is it fixed and/or a gratuity, mandated gratuity? How da, da, da. So these questions you'll need to know, because when you see the total, when they tell you the total on the phone, you won't be surprised that it's more than just adding on the sales tax as you would make a situation. It's already got that gratuity and/or the delivery fee. Okay, that seems to be, I think I've covered, again, folks, I've been here ranting, as Rant Review is, but we would like you to rant or call me out or give us some other alternatives. Our phone number is 504-383-3654. I'm sorry, it can't be a toll-free number. But if you have unlimited calling in the USA, at least, you shouldn't have a problem. There should be no call. And you can also use the phone service of the computer called Google Voice. Now, you'll have to install that, etc. But once you get it on, and it's free, it allows you to make those calls. And that's what we use to retrieve our calls. So you're one way or the other, you're going to be on Google Voice, either on our side or your side. But you don't have to be if you're not geared to the computer. If you're geared to the typical old talk show and you want to use your phone, any type, landline, smartphone, dumb phone, you can go ahead and give us a call, as long as you don't mind paying those charges if there should be some on your bill. So at 504-383-3654. We've been on for a little while. Let's see. I don't think we'll go on too long. I don't see an audience really building too much. There's a few people have been kind enough to show it on what I'm seeing. Again, our topic is COVID-19 restaurants here in the New Orleans area. And we would like to know about what's happening for you all. I mean, besides the old family cooking. I mean, that's when I was growing up, restaurant was a special deal. It was an event. Movies were an event. It wasn't just an automatic. So mom or whomever, if you're fortunate enough to have help, would prepare meals for you, and you ate at home. And God forbid you actually talk to your fellow family members and or guests. But so now the emphasis falls on, from a financial standpoint, especially not knowing if you're going to get any supplemental income from the government. Large families can't afford to go out to eat every night, I wouldn't think, unless they were really well off, had tremendous amount of savings. But they also don't want to deplete those as well, because they still got to worry about their future. So We have one to return to family cooking, or someone. This is where it's a great idea to teach your children something. Teach your children how to cook. Let them participate, or your spouse if you don't have children. That way, he or she or they can find out the delights. It's enjoyable to cook. I mean, and everyone knows the worst part is cleanup, and even cleanup has been minimized with the advances of technology with the dishwasher and stuff like that. Even though I manual wash everything and then put it in the dishwasher. It's so stupid. But old people, they can't change. Anyway, once again, we would love to hear from you before we sign off, because I can't think I've not addressed each point of the scenario involving COVID-19 restaurants as the new normal. We love to use that term, the new normal. We hope it's the new abnormal, and we hope it's, more importantly, short-lived. We like to go back to the flexibility of going out whenever we want and can afford to the place of our choice, and having an enjoyable meal, let alone beverage that so many of our residents and people around the world love to do with their food, and or just going out for snacks. And nowadays, part of the trend years ago changed to basically what I call bars with food, and not just the glass of different mixed nuts or something like that, chips. It's actually some of the food very good, some are very upscale. I certainly don't like the idea of eating at a bar, even though there's different types of bars. And I really prefer to have sit down service, not the current level of what I call DIY sandwich shop, where you go to the front, you order, and there may be some, you either have to wait and take everything to your table, or you might get some partial service of the food and you take the drink or whatever. So I'm used to a typical full-scale service, and those are the things I will miss as days go on. Hopefully, all will not have to avoid that. You'll have family and friends to, as long as they said 6 feet. I heard that if it's less than 6 feet, but more than 10 minutes. We have someone here who's Hannibal and Monty show looking for plugs, I'm sure. So for those who don't know what the Hannibal and Monty show is, I don't know if they're coming on now. Usually the daytime, they just have a preview of what I call some famous actor shooting up in the air with one of the participants, one of the co-hosts, a mask that he wears on occasion, hanging on a post. It's not for me. It generates a lot of interest, and I'm glad for them. The show, it has some vulgar language, of course, which is very appealing. Has a huge following, and they do have multiple topics. So I will give them that. We do appreciate them checking in. I'm sure they won't be on long, because this will not be of their interest. But anyway, the restaurant business is changing, folks, as we speak, just like the whole environment. When we talk about healthcare, your lifestyle, things are changing, and we don't have any control. And that's one of the biggest fears, I guess, is whether we will live or not. That's probably the largest fear of this situation. Secondary is how to adjust and have as much as possible as our former lifestyle. We're focusing on food. We would love to hear from you all. 504-383-3654. If anyone wants to chime in about what are they doing for food. And I don't mean going to the grocery store. I don't want to hear any of those negative things about how bad it is in the grocery store. It's chaotic. It's hostile. And I know that. We all understand that, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to try and say how things are, how we're going to make the best of it, until, if and when, that we get to see that word that the virus is gone, or get to relive as much as possible of our normal life. So we would encourage you to, like I say, please call. If you want to talk about another topic, unless it's one of the taboos that we talked about in the beginning, I don't have any reservation about that. If it's something I don't know about, then you will be doing talking, and unless someone else chats, or and just like Monty and the Bunty Show and Hannibal have just signed in. They on the chat forum or the comment forum of live of your forum that you're watching on, whether it's Facebook or whether it's YouTube. You can post a comment and it'll show up on our chat. If you have a question there, we'll certainly answer it. Or preferably on the new talk show, or not so talk show, we would like to hear from you. No one's going to see your face. So if you're, maybe not one of those, maybe you're shy, as I always like to say, or maybe you just have some reason not to be seen. Hopefully you can disguise your voice if necessary. That's also a giveaway. But please give us a call, 504-383-3654. We're going to give you all a shot for maybe about 12 more minutes to sign off on the hour because, I think I've exhausted this subject. I can sit here and name some of the restaurants that have adopted these new hybrid situations. And what we'll do is if we come up with another show randomly like this, we don't like, our programs are usually like to be scheduled as opposed to random. We've been doing this randomly because originally for just trying it out, getting it started in the middle of that, we added the call-in feature, which old Bob has to learn, multitasking. It takes a while to do that for this old codger. But we have that down now. We just tested it, especially we had to have it ready. I just spoke with someone who's calling in tomorrow night. For those who don't know about our programming this week, Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Central, now it's daylight time, or 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, or 9 o'clock Eastern time. We have our long-running, well-established Talk to the Tarot. And in that show, we have the lovely Miss Robin Denon coming into you live, co-hosting the show. You see her as well as hear her from California. And she gives you the opportunity to let her read your tarot cards if you so desire, and or speak to through her to someone that might have passed on already, that either a loved one or someone that wants to talk to you, and you might not be expecting, like happened when I first situation. So that's tomorrow night, Wednesday the 18th. By the way, happy Pat's Day again. Even I guess we should have a green screen up instead of our logo behind us of the ant ranting through his or her megaphone. Anyway, it's so hard to say that, as we said in the beginning, because it's hard. There are no celebrations here in New Orleans. We have parades, of course, for everything, both formalized with floats and just walking about, and then huge bar crawls where they just go into the streets and have street parties and just do way too much drinking. They really want to emulate the Irish and maybe exceed them in their intake of alcohol, specifically green beer. Like that would be appetizing. Anyway, if you want to call, like I say, we've got about 10 minutes more. If not, we'll probably sign off because I think we've talked about it. But again, if we do another one on the same topic, what we'll try and do is I'll try and compile a list of the ones that I know that are doing some form of hybrid food delivery to you, that distribution, let's say that, whether it's delivery to your home, whether it's takeout through pickup through a window, or pickup curbside pickup. We will let you know that as well. And any ones that we have the financial information on increments of that with regard to what adds to the price of the food, other than sales tax, which we always have to have, whether there's mandated gratuities, whether there's a mandated delivery charge, or anything else they might want to be creative with. We will let you know that as well. So that way, if you haven't seen that, if you don't subscribe to those restaurants or whatever, or follow them, you might have some information that could be valuable for you, especially if this thing goes on beyond 1 or 2 weeks. We're hoping not. We're hoping it'll be over for all of our sake, and that whoever gave us the forecast of April 13th, Easter Day, we'll all be getting, I don't know how we'll get them, but that Easter Bunny's got to deliver big, massive delivery of eggs, baskets, chocolate, all the stuff, gifts, flowers, the whole works that day. But even if we never got any of those trinkets or those tangible items, the idea that we are free at last, literally, will be a major relief and enjoyment to all concerned. Again, we ask that if you'd like to call, the phone number is 504-383-3654. You can call on any one of the standard lines, cell phones. Hopefully you have unlimited service. If not, hopefully you're within the calling zone. There is no charge. You can also still, for those, everybody's tech oriented, everybody's computer literate today, no matter what age, coming right out of the womb. You can go to the same thing that we're using, Google Voice. Google Voice, and that allows you to, once you install it on your phone or your computer, it is free. It shows you a little keypad, and you just do like you do on the keyboard of your phone, or your actual dial tone of your standard landline. You just dial numbers 504. You might have to put a 1 if you're way outside. 383-3654. So we're hoping it's going to become used. We still will have, as we have today, the ability for you all to chat or comment live, as long as you set it on public. If it's on private chat or private comment on either one of our platforms, we will not see it. So if you want the audience to know, or at least me to know and convey that, or the guest to know, you have to make sure that your settings are on public, non-private, whatever terminology they use. It means it goes to beyond your friends. It goes to the big world out there. All right, I think we might call it quits. It's even a little early. It's a little warm in this room. I wasn't prepared. We're having almost a heat wave in the 80s this week, which is good, but it gets a little too hot. That's a problem. We've had a lot of cool weather this year, but it's jumping up to 8. Although I heard it's cooling down by the weekend again, but it's still going down to the 70s. So that's delightful. That's ideal weather. That's like Hawaii balming weather. So we'll enjoy that. But today's a little stuffy. I don't think we have the air on, so I think we're going to have to pass before I pass out. You don't want to see that. It's not a pretty sight. Once again, also this week, another programming note that'll help kill time for you. The Friday morning shows that we do from downtown Bogalusa, Louisiana, Marcy's picking sale will not be. Marcy's very concerned of the coronavirus, even in a little small town. And I think there are a couple of cases in that town or county or parish, as we call them. So she's only accepting people by appointment. It's not open to the public anymore. And it's originally scheduled to end this weekend anyway. So we're going to skip this week, Friday, with her. We are going to do, not this Friday, but in the near future, a look at her own antique shop and the contents in another neighboring town, Slidell, and then have a separate show on the haunting of that establishment. When she bought or read it, because it was a long story and verified by experts, paranormals, those are experts. So I'm anxious to tell that. I don't know if we'll have to put it on a different show than Rarity Review, which is the antique show, but we'll find where maybe Reader's Review, kind of the literary society. Anyway, one last thing before we go. If you, besides coming on these shows via the telephone or via the chat or via live picture and sound, we would love for you to be a co-host. If you have a topic that we currently meets our 15 program schedule, and you're pretty informed about that and love it, why not come and do it? Either if you want to do it all yourself, that's no problem. You can have your own show. We're a fledgling network, so we're open to anyone. Okay, anyone that can do live streaming, we will put it through our software and pump it out there. And that rates too, as we grow, which we are. We're going to be able to expand, I believe, to five platforms. Wouldn't that be fun? But if you know of any talent on any artists, chefs, etc., from anywhere around the world, send me the information. You can do it during the show on this text or call about it during the show or off the show. You can send it to email, which I despise, but anyway, that's Bob, B-O-B, @ RREVUE.net, Bob at rrevue.net, or you can come to Facebook Messenger, Bob Bockelman, say when we're using for our platform, and make those suggestions of yourself or someone else. All right, well, folks, it's been kind of warm, but a pleasure. I think we still got some folks watching. I'm sorry I can't think of more scenarios for you, but if we do, and as I say, if I can provide more information to you about the hybrid or the restaurant statuses, what is it? Bad word, in New Orleans during this horrible pandemic, or pandemic, as I've heard it's pronounced, pandemic. That's a new one for me. Then we'll certainly do another show. We'll dedicate another one of the Rant Review shows. We're going to hopefully try and get this to almost a daily basis, so it kind of resembles, even though we don't want to be known as a talk show, and we want to be known as a not-so-talk show. But we'd like to get a little more regularity, so Bob's going to scratch his old cranium in between soliciting and getting guests, working with guests for all the other shows, that I can make a list of topics for us that some of them might hit you, because, you know, all these other talk show professionals, they have their list of first 4 topics, and they throw those out right away, and hopefully, and then start talking. Hopefully you'll chip in, and many of you do. Sometimes you'll interrupt them with something else. And again, we can do that format without major objection, as long as you meet our criteria on acceptable subject or non-taboo subjects being excluded. There's only 4 of them, so it's no problem. You present it, we'll enjoy it. And like I say, either you'll present it and I can't say anything, we'll defer to the rest of the audience if there is any, or we'll let you go on your way and move on back to the original topic or something new. Okay, folks, again, we appreciate you bearing with us. As you know, it's a big learning curve for me, because before, for all the years I've been in business, you can see that how old I am. It was easy. All I had to do was show up and put this ugly face in front of the camera and open the mouth. Now I got to do all the stuff behind the scenes. Fortunately, I have an assistant, a good friend, our administrator in the evenings. But during the day, our day shows sometimes are not well done because of technology, and not because of technology per se, but because of owner operator error, or whatever they call it, garbage in. Let's call it garbage in. All right, folks, thanks very much. This is Bob Bockelman from Rant Revue, our random Rant Review, since we have it fixated a day at a time, and all part of the New Orleans TV and network system. All hour-long live shows coming to you for as long as we got people out there, okay? All right, folks, take care. Look forward to seeing you very soon on something. Don't forget Wednesday night, if not before, for 8 o'clock Central Daylight Time. Take care.